Good morning, everyone. It is a joy to welcome you to the sacred space this morning for this Newman Lumen International Coffee Hour crossover. A special welcome to our friends who are joining us from International Coffee. It's so wonderful to have you here. This year, our theme for Newman Lumen has been Meaningful Relationships Matter, and we certainly know that there are so many relationships that are cultivated within and among the work that the GEC does. So we're so glad to welcome our friends from the GEC to thank y'all for the work you're doing in terms of making meaningful relationships happen on this campus. So I'm going to turn it over to Denise Teeters, who's going to introduce our musician and speaker for today.
Hi, everyone. We would like to extend our heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of you for gracing us with your presence this morning. Your willingness to share your time being here today really reflects the bond that unites us all across campus and really even outside of campus, because today we have some special friends visiting us from North Carolina A&T University. And that is just very special, and also speaks to the meaningful relationships and how much they matter. And now I'd like to introduce our two students, Sakura, Kawakami. Sakura is from New Zealand. Her mother is Japanese, and she's hoping to share her Maori perspective of meaningful relationships. So she's going to talk about her life story today. And Dorothy is from China, and she's from Zhou, which Suzhou, okay, which is close to Shanghai. And Dorothy is majoring in music and mathematics, and music is her dream, and music is for dream and mathematics for life. She loves singing musical songs, ice skating, and cooking, which one time Dorothy surprised us with her baking skills. And she thinks life should be full of joy and everyone can be who they want to be. So thanks, everyone.
Look at me, I would never pass for a perfect bride or a perfect daughter. Can it be? I'm not meant to play this part. Now I see that if I were truly to be myself, that would break my family's heart. Who is that girl I see standing straight back at me? Why is my reflection somehow I don't know? Somehow I cannot hide who I am, though I tried. When will my reflection shows who I am inside? When will my reflection shows who I am inside?
Tēnā koutou katoa, ki te taha o tōku koroua, ko hikurangi tōku maunga, ko waiapu tōku awa, ko Ngāti Pro tōku iwi. Ki te taha o tōku kuia, ko haparangi tōku maunga, ko waipupu mahana tōku ngāwha, ko Ngāti Rangi Tiaurere tōku iwi. He mihi goha te tēnei ki a koutou katoa. Greetings to you all. Before I begin, I would like to acknowledge that we are on the land of the Ena, Te Kataoba, Okinichi, Saponi, Shakori, and Sisipaho people. I would like to thank them for allowing me to stand here today to talk about my people, the Indigenous Māori people from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I also want to thank Reverend Julie, the staff at the Truitt Centre, Kristen Aquilino and Denise Teeters for their support. My name is Sakura. I'm Japanese and Māori. I began my speech by reciting my pepeha. The pepeha describes my whakapapa or genealogy. It talks about my connection to the land and natural resources such as my mountain and river. Indigenous people have a spiritual and symbiotic relationship with nature, and it is our identity. The land is who we are, and without land, we are nothing. We believe in kaitiakitanga, which means to be guardians of the planet, to protect our land, animals, and environment. In my pepeha, I have also shared with you my tribes, Ngāti Rangitiaurere from the Rotorua region on my grandmother's side. My grandfather is from Ngāti Pro, and they are found on the Eastern Cape of the North Island. Our whenua, land, and our whānau, family, are the most important things for Māori people. In our society, whānau is the collective group of people connected through a common ancestor. This makes Māori families much larger than most families. I can't tell you how many cousins, aunties, or uncles I have. There are too many to count. Our family gatherings are huge, with hundreds of people eating, drinking, singing, and having a great time. I love my whānau. When a disruption occurs in our family or our connection to the land is lost, it disrupts not only our world order, but also our value system. For Māori, acknowledging the land and our family through our pepeha is a necessary process that affirms our identity. I was born in Kumamoto, Japan, and I lived there until 2011. I was 7 years old when the devastating Tohoku earthquake and tsunami hit the northeast of Japan. This was the strongest earthquake and largest tsunami that Japan had ever seen. This tragedy shocked the world. I was one of those affected. Over 18,000 people died as a result of the tsunami, and it had a particularly devastating effect on Fukushima as it hit the nuclear power plants. This led to a nuclear crisis that affected my family and millions of others across Japan. The radiation was harmful as it contaminated water, food, buildings, and air. It was no longer safe to live in Japan, so my family and I had to make the difficult decision to move to Australia. We wanted to evacuate to safety. My life has changed because of this. When I go back to visit my hometown, it brings back good and bad memories. One thing that I remember clearly is watching media reports of the government bureaucrats in meetings, sitting inside, telling the Japanese media about what they're going to do. Meanwhile, it was the American Navy who acted quickly, and I remember a television crew capturing shots of the American helicopter rescuing Japanese from the roofs of their homes. These images shocked Japan into action as the public grew in contempt at the slow and inept response of the Japanese bureaucracy. It was the Americans that I see as saving the day, so thank you, America. For now, I'm going to tell you about Māori culture and the Japanese culture. I have an unusual accent, somewhere between Kiwi, Australian, and British. It depends on how I feel and who I'm talking to. I lived in Rotorua, New Zealand for about 2 months, where I attended a total immersion Māori school. My father's family found and run the school. It is called Te Kura Kaupapa Māori o Rua Mata. It is not part of the normal education system in New Zealand, since my family believe in tino rangatiratanga, self-determination and independence. One of my most profound memories of Māori culture is their idea of whanaungatanga, family communal living. You see, I'm quite used to keeping my own things, such as my own clothes, my own school lunch, and my shoes. Well, I soon learnt that the concept of my and mine is completely foreign to my family when I first arrived at my Māori school. And yes, everyone at my school is my family. We all belong to the same tribe. As a part of our culture, we take off our shoes when we go inside homes or schools, like Japanese people. Well, on my first day at school, my shoes went missing, gone. Then when it came to lunch and I opened up my beautiful Japanese bento lunch, it was all gone. Then I noticed my clothes, such as my jackets, jumpers, or anything I wore and had put down, gone. I soon learnt to keep all my stuff locked away in a suitcase at home. You see, some Pākehā white people think Māori people steal things. They do, that's true, but this is because they are poor and they believe in whanaungatanga, communal living. There's no such thing as my and mine, just ours. This is because the land is ours. It cannot ever belong to one person. My family soon moved to Perth, Western Australia. It took some time to get used to the new environment. My father wasn't living with us, and he was mining up north in Karratha, and he was working FIFO, which meant that he was away for 3 weeks, and he'd only come back for a week. It was very difficult for my mother, as she had to look after my baby brother, Eru, and I. At the time, none of us spoke English. I began learning English, and it took me 2 years to become a fluent speaker. My family and I lived close to a public golf course, and I began practicing every day. I really enjoyed the game and wanted to play golf competitively. My goal was to join the Mount Lawley Golf Club, where they had the strongest juniors. It was an extremely long process to get in, but joining Mount Lawley was one of my best accomplishments. Everyone was extremely welcoming. The golf club took pride in supporting their juniors. I loved my time in Perth, but it was difficult for my family as my father was always away. The turning point was when Eru no longer recognised him. After 3 years in Australia, my family left for the United Arab Emirates in the Middle East. I remember the first day I visited Al Ain Equestrian and Shooting Golf Club, my home club in Abu Dhabi. I was amazed at the world-class golf course and facilities. The weather was perfect, the members were very down to earth. I met the local golf coach, Fraser McLaughlin from Scotland, and I began taking lessons. For the first few months, my dad was there during my lessons as I had no idea what Fraser was saying. He had to help translate a strong Scottish accent into English. I improved significantly and my scores dropped. I gained a lot of experience playing in different conditions, and I developed a deeper knowledge and understanding of the game. I was in love with the sport and determined to keep improving. When I was 15, my parents decided to send me back to New Zealand. They wanted me to reconnect with my Māori family, whom I haven't seen for over 8 years. It was a huge culture shock. I felt like an outsider. I didn't speak Te Reo, our native language, and I was always known as the Japanese cousin. I didn't realise how privileged I was compared to my cousins who were brought up in rough environments and were forced to grow up quickly. They were stuck in an intergenerational cycle of violence, alcoholism, drugs, and gang life. I knew that there was a way out of this cycle, and it was through golf. I wanted to play college golf in the US, not only for personal reasons, but to inspire my little cousins that they could also pursue higher education outside of the country. With my family's support, I worked hard to get here at Elon University, and it feels like a dream come true. I'm so grateful to my coaches, Coach Dockrell and LB, for this opportunity to play for the women's golf team. I would like to conclude my speech by sharing a Māori proverb. E hara taku toa I te toa takitahi, engari he toa takitani. My success is not mine alone, but it is the strength of many. Tēnā koutou katoa. Thank you very much for listening.